Enjoy most about my work is that I am essentially a storyteller across different mediums, which also means I meet people from different walks of life. My primary task as a journalist means that I'm often interviewing people, so I'm getting to know more about their lives. But also, my work as an essayist means that I am getting to do a deep dive into topics that are interesting to me. So I think getting to hear about people, basically be on a good gossiper and cheerleader of people, is very exciting for me. So my primary training was in journalism. So I went to the University of Nairobi and I have a bachelor's degree in journalism with a specialization in print journalism. And in school, I actually had a unit on data storytelling, kind of in the sense of investigative journalism. And I was really avoiding that course. I was like, these are too many numbers. This is no. I'm here for the words. But then, as time has gone on, I've actually realized the importance of including numbers because they are allowing an audience to understand the facts behind things, like deeper contextualization. So, although my work primarily is like writing profiles and interviewing people, I found that there's space for numbers, and actually I learned how to do that. But before, I didn't think about the place of numbers in my stories. I was thinking more about the words. Oh, it is definitely deepen the work for sure. Of course, journalism is a fact-based style of storytelling. But then what I'm understanding more and more, even in the work that I'm doing, that's a bit more relaxed. Maybe, say, for example, there's a time I was working on a piece about the first Black ballerina in a European ballet company, contextualizing what that meant. So in the years that the ballet company has existed, the number of Black ballerinas across the world. So including that information in the story really made my subject that much more special in her position. So that came from actually my learning of including data in my work. Yeah, before that I would have been, this is who she is and she's wonderful, and of course putting the numbers in there, but understanding how much that grounds the story and gives it a deeper context is something I learned from my time in the fellowship for sure. It was surprising that there were ways to make it fun. Because I mean, data are dry, hard facts, and they're necessary, but it's also finding a story within them. So, for example, there's a time I was working on a piece on mob justice, and I understood it as a very emotive, human-centric stories. But then the numbers allowed me to really understand, okay, what are the deeper aspects behind it? So, first of all, the fact that there are such few numbers around collection of facts of how many people have been killed through mob justice, which of course then says how are people's approaches and thoughts around it. So, actually, data, the absence of it or the existence of it, can reflect on an attitude that exists around these matters. So I found that actually data is very important. The absence of it, the presence of it, who collects it, what is said about these numbers is equally as important as the story. So before doing this fellowship, I was staying away from numbers. I mean, I use them in my essay writing because also in essays, you also have to make an argument and present statistics. But sometimes it's really making more intellectual arguments. So you're finding other writers and thinkers who've thought along the same lines as you, or people whose writing you're writing against. But and then also in my regular arts and culture work, I'm really just doing profiles and reviews and things like that. But now that I understand the importance of numbers in a story and how they can actually make a story much more exciting and ground the thing, then now I'm employing that much more. So for example, with the ballerina story that I did, I was writing a profile on this individual who was the first Black ballerina at a European ballet company. But then it made me go do a deeper dive into how many actually Black ballerinas are there in the world, to understand how important her position is and how long has that company existed without including a Black person. So being able to give those numbers within the story, I feel like gave it a deeper context because it was existing in an arts and culture magazine. It was quite nice to be able to include that kind of data within the story that was typically going to just be a regular profile. So I'm doing that more and more in my work for sure.